Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Are we enjoying the program? Great. I love to hear, or I love to see young women and young men participate in engagements like this. But first of all, let me ask all of you, how many of you have social media accounts? How many of you? Okay, almost all of you. How many of you ran away from math class? Oh, I've seen some hands. So how many of you shrink when you hear finances? Well, at least this session has built your confidence, right? Please clap for yourselves. So growing up, one of the things I always run away from was mathematics. And that's why I wanted to know whether I had colleagues in here so that we can all hug ourselves, right? Maybe I didn't like it because of how it was taught in school. A lot of the time, Monday mornings, when you've had a nice weekend at home, then what? You have your maths teacher calling for what? How do you guys call it? Mental. So it means that your brain has to be working as fast as possible. And so it is important for us to learn about financial literacy. And I'm happy that today, or this time, we're going to have a conversation on building wealth, changing lives, strengthening communities through personal and business financial education, the role of academia. How many of you, again, want to be professors and doctors? I am happy because I'm going to have a conversation with professors and doctors. And that means that probably it's God prophesying in my life that I will soon be what? A professor. Hallelujah. Amen. All right, so financial education gap in schools. And for me, it is important that whilst we are having or making decisions, I mean, our parents gave us what? Money. Someone or one of our panel members talked about the allowances that are given to you. What kind of decision do you make about these ones? A lot of us graduate without having skills in budgeting, saving, credit planning. A lot of us really don't understand a lot of these things. But then I asked, you have social media accounts. So what are we using these platforms for? And so this session is basically going to help us to learn and also understand how academia can play their role in educating us, especially when you're going to spend a lot of your time in school. Now, the Center for Financial Literacy Awareness Center, okay, they have been doing a lot to improve financial awareness and financial literacy movements. And so we are also going to talk about some of the tools, campaigns, and all the things that all of us can be part of in order to enhance our knowledge in financial literacy. Now, to help me go through this session, please do help me welcome Professor Enoch Opoku Enchi, who is the Dean of Business and Communication Arts at the Academic City University College, Ghana. Please, a round of applause. So whilst he takes a seat, I would also like to invite to the stage Professor Paul Ejay Onyina, who is Associate Professor of Economics, Pentecost University. We can do better, please. And then Dr. Eric Boachi Yadom, he's a Senior Lecturer at University of Professional Studies, Accra. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ohinewa Brown. I am a communications and PR consultant, and I will be your moderator for this session. One of the things I have always enjoyed doing is to try as much as possible to get our panel members to relate with everyone who would be listening to them. So I will be finding out from them, because a lot of you are asking yourself, how are these distinguished gentlemen, and of course the lady who joined the earlier panel discussion, what was their journey in terms of understanding financial literacy when they were your age, right? And so maybe this is the time for you to when it gets to the question and answer segment, quiz them how this journey of theirs started in terms of understanding financial literacy. So I'm going to start off with Professor Opokwenchi. Prof, one of the things I love about you is the fact that you've written a lot of books. And I know I think this morning when I was talking to Professor Onyena, he said, oh, don't say a lot about us. We just want to have a conversation. Please tell us how financial literacy was for you when you were younger and how that shaped your career path.
Thank you. I think professors, doctors, pastors, lawyers, we are not good at answering questions. We are good at asking questions, you see. But I'll do my best. I was born in a very skewed and awkward situation. My parents divorced before I even became a teenager, I think at the age of 12. And I remember one Sunday morning, we had moved from Domain-Nkro to Koforidua. My father was a head teacher there. He decided to do politics. Soldiers came, surrounded the house, took him away. And then my mother had to move us back to Koforidua where we came from. And one Sunday, she called me and said, son, your father is gone. We are 5. So 5 kids, you are the oldest. Now you're going to be our father and everything. If you fail us, we all die. That was the day leadership was instilled in me to take care of my siblings and my mother who wasn't working. So I started weaving baskets, going to look for snails. Every menial job I did just to take care of my family. And now, you know, our last boy has his MBA in project management. He's a senior banker at the Bank of Ghana in Kumasi. All of them have their master's degree because somebody will have to sacrifice for the others. And my mother has a way of saying it that if you are the only rich person in your family, then you are the poorest. Because everybody will come to you. So in doing all that job, I went to senior high school. I didn't have money. Just like some of you, your parents don't have it. Excuse me. So I went to the Ghana Cocoa Board. And my grandfather was a cocoa farmer. So I took all his documents. I didn't know what some of them meant. But I took them to the cocoa officer and said that my grandfather was a cocoa officer. Can you give me cocoa board scholarship? And he said, we don't do it like that. But I went through the process and I got it when I had finished school. And the bulk of money that came paid from Form 1 to Form 5 because I had distinction in O-level. And that was the money I used to go to Opokuwari for 6th form. Then when I finished, I taught in class 4. I had 61 students in class teaching 9 different courses. And I had a penny box. So any money that I make, I will save it. And I would do teaching in the evening in some of the homes of those whose parents have money. And that is the money I saved to go to university. So if you are sitting down to think that somebody somewhere will come and save you, I'm sorry. Nobody will come and save you. Once you get that mindset, so when we're talking about financial awareness, awareness is about setting goals. If you don't have any goal, you will never become aware of your finances. But once you set up the goal, then you begin to work towards reaching the goal. Because then you can perceive and see whether you are getting to the goal or not. Thank you.
Great, thank you. All right, that was a nice way of setting the tone. Professor Ejay Onyena, I'm going to come to you. So tell us, I know you've shared some tips with me in terms of how the 90s, some of the things that happened. How was it for you when it comes to financial literacy and how that has shaped who you are now?
Okay, thank you. It's been a long story. Yes, because unlike Prof, my father particularly was a cocoa farmer. There were times we have to go and weed at the cocoa farm. We're very far from Kumasi. You know, we school around Kumasi, Sankore. I remember one time, We went to the farm. Ulma was not coming. Myself and my other brother, the one I'm after, we were there. We had no money. Schools has reopened. We have to come to school. So we said, no, we'll go and take the car to Kumasi. We took the car, and the car was in the evening, so that early morning you'll be in Kumasi. Those days, when they were taking the lorry fare, we had no lorry fare. They asked me, so my brother will tell you the story. But they asked, so we don't have money. So we decided that when we get to Kumasi, you will actually detain my younger brother. Then I will go to the house and bring money. And Kumasi, those days, GPLTU, they had a center over there. We went there, they took me there, they put me at their counter back. Then my brother went to KO 18. Those of you who know Kumasi very well, luckily, KO is around Kajetia, Ashtown. That was life. Growing up, we didn't hear this financial literacy thing. We didn't know anything about finances. But we were determined. We have to set some goals. Schooling in your own hometown as day students, because the old man says his money cannot support you. In fact, we have to vacate during holidays. We'll go and then labor. If those of you from the village, you understand it, by day, you go and weed. When it's 12, you finish. You close, then you take your money and go. Meanwhile, those women who would take you there, they knew that we were attending secondary school. So you have to have an aim, just as Prof said. You'll be determined. Going for it, things will change. Now, well, luckily, my brothers, they are all reverend ministers. Probably I'm the only one into the academia. They are also there. But with that kind of determination, you survive. And then thank God that this time, right from our youthful days, we are being taught financial literacy so that we'll be able to manage our resources and then we know where to put our various monies that we have. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Ohinwa.
Yes,
and
Doctor.
I think that financial literacy in our time is your quest to survive. It's not reading any book. How do you survive in the midst of the challenges you face? And I'm not sure it has changed. When they say something, when there's a will, there's a way. You become creative as to how you can get money to do the basic thing you want to do. I think my story is not different from what has been shared. I remember when I wanted to go to secondary school, our time there was no free SHS, so it was tough. Couldn't get money to go to school. So any job that I could find, but I knew that if I can cross senior high school, I will be able to do whatever I want to do. So what I needed to do, now I've understood it is capital formation. I needed to find a way to able to mobilize money just to pay my fees in secondary school. So in your quest to be financially literate, it's about setting a target and finding every means possible to make sure that the target is met. It can come in the form of being, I have sold almost everything you can think about. If I want to tell you things I've sold, I'm not sure we'll go today. But it also, those processes taught me how to save. Many of you get money, you are using it to buy data, you are browsing, you are wasting the money. But we learned the discipline of how to save. That you work, gather the money, pay your fees. Sometimes you close from school, come back and work to gather the money to pay the next fees. And in the university, we have to double working and schooling at the same time. You know, the saving culture helped me to build my first house, even before 30 years. I was in my own house. It is the culture, the things that we learn, the principle. Make sure you don't spend all that you have. Keep a budget, you know. And one of the sure way that I can promise you don't live your life is don't live your life as Ghana. Ghana as a country, we have failed. So don't be like a Ghana. We always prepare budget, but we never stick to it. We don't stay to it. So you should you have a classical example as to what you shouldn't become. You shouldn't become like how we have managed the country for the past 68 years. Prepare a budget and stay within the budget. Ghana prepare a budget, we overspend, we end up borrowing, then we come to the whole debt cycle. As an individual, if your money sends you money, you know that your mother can afford 100 cedis. 100 cedis is likely to finish in a week, but it's for 4 weeks. Your ability to manage that 100 cedis without overspending is a financial literacy, and that's the practical way to educate yourself financially. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Doc, for that. Now, on the back of not behaving like Ghana and ensuring that you build a budget, that you stay within that budget, let me start with you, Professor Nchi. How can we, and of course, all of you having shared your story, what financial literacy means to you, you are influencers to these young ones. And so how can academia, with all of you leading, improve the wealth-building culture of these young ones? I'll start off with you.
Thank you again. I think that your first teachers are your parents. And unfortunately, financial issues have become taboos in our homes. I wonder if you go and ask your mom or dad, how much do you earn? Would they tell you? My father will kill you and bury you and make another baby the next day. You are not supposed to ask them. If your dad buys a car that you know his income cannot support, can you be able to ask him, Dad, where did you get the money to buy the car? See? So culture, Peter Drucker says that culture is strategy for breakfast. Our culture has made it in such a way that we can't ask questions. Bible said that the best way to know is to ask questions. Financially, academic is such a discipline that we specialize in many places. So we are literate. I'm a leadership professor. So we are literate in something and illiterate in something. I don't know much about history or geography, because we all specialize. And what I've seen in Ghana as compared to US that I taught for over 20 years is that they do multidisciplinary way of teaching. It's very hands-on and evidence-based. So I will never come to teach personal finance, but we know that you need to spend at least $186,000 before your child will be 18 years. So do you have that money to have a child? If I don't have that money, I'm not going to make a baby. Here, the poor have more kids. Their only entertainment is to make babies, right? And then they will name that child after you, somebody they think is rich, and say, I've given the baby to you. You think I can't make baby for myself? Now I should take care of your baby because you are making more babies. There's no planning. And if you don't plan, your life is like a lottery. It's left to chance. So what academia we have to do is to create the awareness. And how do we create the awareness? The way our curriculum is strategized, it doesn't work. For instance, GTech will, I'm a leadership, like I've told you, and I publish something in economics, GTech will say that that doesn't count as your publication. How? We have psychology professors in US who are deans of engineering department. Imagine a psychology person pairing with somebody from engineering and publishing and see the richness of ideas. Here it's not like that. Everybody is operating in silos. So can we have, let's say, AI paired with marketing? Can we have accounting paired with forensic? But it doesn't happen here. And because of that, the person is literate in the mind, but illiterate with the hand. But those who have not been to school, I see them to be more literate financially than those who have been to school. Because that woman at the roadside who sells charcoal, she knows that I have 4, sacks of the charcoal. I have sold one today, so I have to go and bring another one to replace that one. But for us, we don't even care where the next money is going to come from. I just talked to a cocoa seller this morning. She makes susu 50 Ghana cedis every day. A cocoa seller. At the end of the month, multiply 50 by 30. How much is that? How much? 1,500. That a cocoa seller is saving. Multiply that by 1 year. But those who work from month to month, how much do we save? Because everybody is on your neck. Those who have had more babies are on your neck. I also know some professors who are broke. And one university that I will not talk about, but I told them that they are all earning 4,500 Ghana cedis a month. How much can you spend? And how much can you save? But how many of us even know that saving is about spending? How many of us know that? Saving is about spending. You are saving so that you can spend in the future to buy a car, a house, go to the university, anything you want. So saving is not like you are putting money there that you can never have access to. You are putting it there so that you can spend in future, because guess what? You want to buy a car one day, right? Where do you think the money is going to come from? My pocket? Your pocket. And you save towards it. So once you are saving, it is about buying something you will need in future. Because in 1779 in US, $44,000 that they used to conduct the first population census, $44,000, it's now $47 million, the current equivalent. So if you are saving and you're going to have compound interest, look at the money you have in future. So academia, we need to do more. And because it has become a taboo from homes, when they come to school, we also don't know how to teach it, because you are doing math here, English there, and you can only have access to financial institutions or financial information when you are doing personal finance. But we need to introduce personal finance from the primary schools, from the senior high schools, from the training colleges, the nursing colleges, so that by the time you get to the university, you know what to do with your money. Because I earn this way. We all have money, right? We all have money, just that some have more money than others. If you have 10 cedis, that's money. If you have 100 cedis, that's money. But some have more than others. I know Gary Futo at Ministries. Gary Futo with 3X on it costs 150 Ghana cedis. People are buying them. But a wise person will go to the joint side at Nima and buy a full Welchie 10 cedis and save the remaining 140 cedis, so that at the end of the month, they can be thinking about getting a half plot and do something in the future. But somebody would dress well. Some of us go to the dining hall. We don't eat the food, right? We don't. We will go and buy. But the person who is wise and is saving 10 cedis every day, guess at the end of the 3 years, the money that person will be saving. And remember, you are saving because you want to spend that money in the future. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Professor, I would like to find out from you, I mean, for you as an associate professor at Pentecost University, how would you say academia, and of course the environment that you find yourself, we can shape, we can shape the minds of these young ones in terms of helping them understand financial literacy?
Thank you. Yes, in academia, you realize that we meet a lot of students. And in fact, it cut across all spheres of life, because you meet those whose parents are rich, those in the middle way, and those who are very poor, to the extent that some of them struggle to even pay their fees. So the little that we can do over there is, in fact, Prof said something that this financial literacy should be introduced right from primary school, so that as they grow up, they'll be able to know. So when we go out there, we should begin to let them know how to save. In fact, one major thing in economics is savings, and we've come across it. You see, all the monies that you receive as an individual, you eat some part of that money, and then you save the rest. So if we take it to be one, the money that you have received is one, and then you consume 90%, it means you are going to save how much? 10%, right? That's, if that is the consumption that you are going to. Sometimes it's very difficult, but you need to be determined. You realize that Doc said that because he was determined, he had budgeted to ensure that within the few years, you'll be able to build a house. He was able to do it. So once you have that as your aim, you do it. Now, in doing this, let us remember, most of us, we are not working, but you realize that they have 3, 4, 5 numbers, all of them with data. And every day browsing, doing this, unrelated to learning at all. Just staying on social media. When you do that, it is like you are throwing money away. Somebody has just given you the money and then you throw it into the wind. The wind will take it away, isn't it? Yes. But here you are, you want to save. So you have to stop those irrelevant expenditure. Right? This one, you look at how you are and then you put aside some of these things and then you do. When we were growing up, there used to be, post office savings? What is it? Have you forgotten it? But now it's no longer. That was another way that students, young ones, could also save. So once we made these things clear to them and then we just entice them, also we have to read and let them understand some of the issues coming up, right? Like the experience I have over the years was that because I've read a lot on finance and other things, in the 90s, just as Doug said, this men's gold thing, it is not new. It has been coming, just that it will resurface in another form. So it is old bottle in new, old wine in new bottle. Those days, there was a pyramid, there was a resource 5,000. You go, you put your money there, at the end of the month, they give you 40%. Later, they turn it 30%. It was there. Before you realize, a lot of people have lost huge sums of money, some dying. But if you understand what is meant by investment through introduction of financial literacy program into primary curriculum, whenever these things come, you see it and then you know whether you have to go in or you shouldn't go in. Remember, if you invest in anything, it doesn't come overnight. It's a process. It will begin to build up year 1, year 2, year 3. Anything that comes very quick is questionable. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Onyina, for that. Dr. Boachi-Adam, Yes, Dr. Boachi-Adam. So, I would like to find out, how can we use the academic systems to build these kind of financial literacy ecosystem, basically? I'm asking this because a lot of the time, academia build their curriculum, they build their structure, the courses and all that. How can we use these structures to be able to propagate financial literacy, more like a system that would help shape these young ones?
Thank you. So, per my experience, I think I've taught almost every level of education. I taught class 4 for a month. And I taught in secondary school for 7 years. I used to teach economics, business management, and accounting. Then I've taught in the university for close to 10 years. I teach economics and finance and financial econometrics at the PhD level as well. There's nowhere the kind of financial literacy that we need is any of those curriculum. You can ask, being a chartered accountant, I've been teaching in the ICA for the past 10 years or more. This is not there. So it is not in the book or even in changing the curriculum. It is in clubs and societies that some of these financial literacy can be propagated and make them exposed to. You know, I got introduced to financial literacy through friends, and I remember there was a group when I was in university called HART Group, a Human Development Group, that we used to bring people, Feji and Co, to come and talk to us about investing on the stock exchange and all that. We need to strengthen clubs and societies to take up some of these things. And it also, it makes it a tailor-made services that is a focus group discussion and not just write exams and pass. Even the courses that we teach in universities, they are interested in just passing and going. It's not about how it applies to their lives. But in clubs and societies, you're able to bring it down. Like, for example, Prof was talking about scams. It's a basic financial literacy that there is no financial scheme or financial institution set up to make you richer than the one who set it up. Yeah? Like, you are betting. That's what many young people are doing. You are using your money. They call one aviator, and you would think you will outsmart the system and make more money than the one who set up the betting company. It doesn't work that way. So it is by some of these informal discussions that your eyes will be open. That if somebody says that is offering you a returns of 50%, it makes you have an inquisitive mind to ask questions. And even people who fall prey, like I earlier shared with you, are those who are educated and have access to finance. So we need to make this more informal, like we have susu groups. Somebody go around taking money, and they have confidence in the person that the person will bring back the money, and they willingly do it. We can use that model in a way to teach those in the marketplaces that, okay, you are a susu collector. Today we are meeting your customers to educate them. So even if we bring it into the mainstream curriculum, there are people who don't go to school up to a certain level. They will still be cut off. But there are informal systems that we can introduce some of these educational models and open their eyes to see. And those in the formal sector, formal education, the best time that we can catch them is in secondary school and at worst in the universities. If they miss this chance or this opportunity, then they'll be adding up to the number of people that have been defrauded. Thank you.
Thank you. Prof, help us understand, do we think that currently, for Academic City, one of the things you're brilliant at is training leaders. Do you have a model that you could share with us that is currently helping the students in terms of shaping the way they think about money and building wealth?
Yes, we do. As a dean of School of Business, Entrepreneurship and Communication Arts, I have instituted a lot of clubs, as you talked about. And then these financial institutions, we even invited all the board members of CFLE to speak to our students, SRC weeks and all that. So those of you who are here, take advantage of it. Invite experts to speak about issues. Because the biggest issue here is that we don't know what we don't know. And ignorance is no excuse to anything. So we have clubs, we have financial clubs, we have financial inclusion seminars. We have a lot of fintech. We invited the Bank of Ghana and all financial institutions to an international conference last October. We're doing that this year too. And we invite all students to come and witness all these financial gurus talking about fintech, because that is the future of our world. So we are very intentional in making sure that our students understand finances. Because the secret is that money lives for just 2 generations. Research have shown that. So if your dad had money and transferred the money to you, and if you don't take care of that money, you transfer it to your son and your son don't, the money is gone. And money is just a tool, according to Stover. You can use it for something good, something bad, or remain idle. That is why the richest people in the world have signed a giving pledge that when they die, half of their money should be given to the poor. But being poor is also intentional. Some people have decided to be poor. Some people have decided to be poor. So it doesn't matter all the financial literacy education you can have. Somebody will decide to be poor. In my own village, which is not a village, at Kuforidia, I have helped some people. You have a job, you have a license, I can give you driving, I can give you this. I've just been made a board chair for the Trust Hospital, and I was inaugurated last week. What happened is that you want to help some people with a job, and they will tell you, Prof, MYN. It won't help them. And I ask them why. I say, anytime, every weekend there's a funeral. you have free takeaway. And people who come to the funeral, oh, get, so get 50 Ghana cedis, get 100 Ghana cedis. When they add that one up for the week, sometimes they get 250, 300. Then they will be sitting and playing dame and ludo and all those things. It's okay for them. See? So some people have chosen to be poor. Go to the north and see. Every 15 minutes, you see a different NGO car. Until recently, the USAID decided to go away. But the people are still poor. So poverty is a mentality, and you need to be intentional to take yourself away from that. So let me ask you a question. Do you like the way you are becoming? Every day ask yourself that question. Do I like the way that I'm becoming? That I go sit at a canteen with my friends and every day I don't have money. But when they buy, I'll be the first to put my hand into it and eat. Like an old friend I used to have. Every day he doesn't have money. But when you buy, he will be the first to eat. So it got to a point that when we see him coming, then we will not buy the food. But he was very crafty. He will pretend like he's going, and as soon as we buy it, he will come back again.
Well, so as we're trying to wrap up around this conversation, it is important for us to know how we can strengthen communities. I mean, if you educate one person, what? If you educate a girl, you do what? If you educate a boy, what do you do? So Professor Onyina is going to tell us, I know there will be a reverse very soon, so don't worry. But Professor Onyina is going to help us understand how we can strengthen the communities. And if I say communities, of course, using the youth for advocacy and strengthening education among them as well.
Okay, thank you. One way that can help is, you see, one of them touched on it briefly. That is, in microfinance, there's one thing we call group lending. When they want to give you a loan, you gather yourself as groups. And though there are problems with it, but let me just look at the positive side, which will help us here. Once they do what we call self-selection, that is, if I know Doc, I know Prof, I say, oh yeah, you want to be in one group. When you come, you don't know, you say, no, for this person, when he takes loan, he doesn't want to pay, so we don't want him to be there. But now, what the institution, what they do is that if you group yourself, they allow you to select a leader. When you select a leader, they come that, okay, when we come, we give you the money and then you don't pay. The entire group will pay it. Those who don't pay, which we call collective responsibility. Now, because these people have self-selected themselves, at the end of the day, they are able to pay. Those that don't want to pay, they will pay it. Next time, they will take them out of the group. Now, what they do, the institutions do, is that from time to time, they will gather the people. They say, we'll be having a meeting on, let's say, Tuesday. At this time, they will secure a place. When they come, they will allow the credit officers to come and then educate the people about finances. And if you go to most of these communities, you realize that it is very, 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 very helpful. And I tell you, when you read the microfinance literature, it's important. There are instances where, and this one is empirically shown, that when the women take the money, they are able to repay, and then they help their children in terms of education than the men. Right, you see? In fact, I don't know. You realize that when you do the analysis, all the good things will be coming from the women. So you go to the institutions and realize that mostly there are about 80% women. And then let me just say this and then continue because it's somehow interesting. You know, we've all heard about Muhammad Yunus in Grameen Bank, Bangladesh. You know, because he started a bank, this Grameen Bank, which means village bank. The women were more, and the women were the board of directors. So he said at one point in time, he was written to by the central bank that he should come and explain why his board of directors were mainly women. He said he received the letter, he didn't know what to do. He sat down there, he replied them, okay, if they are able to tell them why the other banks, the board of directors are mainly men, he will come and explain why his board of directors are mainly women. You see, which is telling us that, in fact, if you are able to bring the women on board, they will be able to help the society. So this literacy week, everything, we shouldn't forget, let us be gender biased, because as Dr. Agri said, if you educate a woman, you educate a whole generation. And the microfinance literature have shown that when the woman takes money, they are able to help, even in the food, everything, the asset that is owned in the house, it goes a long way to help those things. So, Center for Financial and then Literacy Education, as you do this, be gender conscious. I'm a man, though, head towards the women, because when they are there, they help grow this thing. And I think with that, the entire community will have greater benefit. Thank you.
Absolutely. So, Dr. Boachi Adam, I would like to find out from you about sustainability. A lot of the time when we have these conversations, sometimes it ends in the room. But how can we ensure that academia, of course, also involve itself in sustainability, ensuring that the conversation goes on beyond the walls of this hall?
Yeah, so we must be intentional about it. And being intentional means that there should be programs dotted across the year. And as you bring, I saw you are in collaboration with about 14 universities. Is it a case that we can get clubs and societies? I'm more particular about clubs and societies, because when we leave it for the formal universities, the bureaucracy alone will kill it, you know. And personally, too, as we are gathered here, we should make ourselves responsible for our personal financial literacy. I asked my students here, what was the last book you read on financial literacy? Let's assume you are being more specific. What was the last book you bought outside your normal academic books? We have a lot of educated illiterates who read nothing apart from the one that they are supposed to write exams on. Recently, I went to the bookshop to buy a book, How to Talk to Anyone, because I want to improve my communication skills. You cannot even stand on your feet and ask questions, and you have not read any book on public speaking. I've been speaking for the last 20 years, but I still want to improve. So until we become personally responsible and buy books to educate ourselves, we will not rise beyond the basic things that we know. So I will encourage you, if we want sustainability, if we want to improve our financial literacy, we must ensure that every one of us take our financial literacy in our own hands and at homes. You see, most of us grew up in homes where we were having susu boxes. We used to have a small susu box. You know, when you see money on the floor, make sure you put it. It was a form of informal financial education. But there's a point to which your parent can educate you. There's a point to which your school or your university can educate you. You must make yourself personally responsible. Other than that, the conversation ends in the four corners of this room. Thank you.
All right. I want to believe that we've really enjoyed the session, and so at this point, I'm going to open up for us to ask a question or two. I think the previous panel, it was a gentleman who asked a question. Can I be biased today? All right, so yes, I think I see a hand there. Can we have someone? Okay, I'm sorry. Please let me be biased. I'll come back to you. So can you please give the microphone to the young lady? And I would love for you to introduce yourself and tell us which school you're coming from.
The microphone.
Thank you. Please, my name is Lois Johnson, and I'm from Tema Secondary School. So please, mine is not really a question. So please, he talked about clubs and societies. And so I'll say it for my school. We have club and society period on Fridays, so we close earlier, like 2:30, and then have time for our clubs and societies. So I was thinking that maybe the financial literacy can be one of the groups in the various schools so that we can also be, most of the people who are interested can be educated during that 1 hour period on Fridays.
Great. So that is sustainability right there, right? We're having the solutions in the room.
Good afternoon. Please, I'm Fatima Solo Abdurrahim, and I'm from Laboni Senior High School. Mine is not also really a question. Some people, they don't save because they think maybe like when their parents give, they said when they get money, they have to spend it, or else when they die right now, somebody else will have to spend their money, and it's not them. So they have to spend their money rather than saving it. So I think it is good to educate younger ones so that they won't put that mindset in their head. Thank you.
Great. I'll give my panel an opportunity to comment on that. I would want to take the last one, then we can wrap up on everything.
Quick one. Yes. The Fridays is not the best place for clubs because Friday afternoon, evening, everybody is getting the mindset to run away home. So I think that if we can push it a little bit forward, that helps. For the dying, I've heard a lot of people, we're all born to die anyway, right? Death is imminent. But you don't have to go home now. You can still wait. Those who think they are going to die soon, they live longer. You know, there's a man close to my house who sold his house in Koforidia that he's going to die. He sold it to somebody who had a hotel, I think just for 40,000 or so, thinking that he's getting the money. He spent all the money and he has not died. So the rule of thumb, according to research, is 15% of any money you get, save it. 15%. So if they give you 10 Ghana cedis, save 15%, 20, save 15%. And just find a place to hide it. Susu box, somebody can steal your Susu box. Somebody can break it and then take your money. But I think that the mindset, that is why most of us, even our parents, don't have life insurance. They have dependents, they don't have life insurance. I just talked to the director of SNIT, and do you know what? It's scary. Only 5% of Ghanaians are saving at SNIT for the future. It is very scary. That means that all of you will have to come and work and take care of your parents because they have not put any money down for the future. Very dangerous. So financial awareness is a very serious thing that we have to take advantage of. And you need to go and educate your parents. Because Chris Rock said that a broke man is like a broke hand. You can't do nothing with it.
All right, so we'll take the last question, I believe. Thank you, Professor Nchi, for that.
All right, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Yakub Tia Abdul Fattah, a former student of the University of Professional Studies, Accra, and I'm currently with UGBS. You know, when you are in a room with full of professors, you don't really know who exactly to probe your question to. But let me go ahead anyway. I want to know how can our leaders champion the development of financial literacy among citizens and integrate it into our educational system when there is a growing perception that they themselves struggle with sound financial management for national economic progress? Thank you.
Right, thank you very much. That's a very important question. I think there's a last one I would want to take, and then we can do that here. I saw a hand over there. Oh, wow, okay. Upstart. Yeah, so we'll take the last one, and then we'll do that. Please pardon us, okay?
Good afternoon again. Please, I want to ask about the savings. Please, if you are saving, some of us have fixed incomes, maybe weekly, monthly, daily. So I'm asking if it's good to save a fixed amount of your incomes, or you can save any amount you wish to save. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, so right on the go, we have said that don't live your life like Ghana. It's not a good example. That is why we are here. So that issue settles it. I mean, yeah. And because for 68 years, we've not learned how to keep a budget. And the first financial literacy that you need is how to keep a budget. How do you follow somebody who don't keep a budget? So it becomes difficult. I mean, yeah. So, but to address your question on savings, when I started saving, we used to have a principle called 10-10-80. That every money that you get, even if it's a gift that somebody give you, the first 10% is to God, the next 10% is to your savings, then you spend the 80%. So you take your savings out before you spend. You don't spend and save the remaining, because some will never be left. That's the first principle. That you spend this, you spend that. Your savings is the next important thing. If you believe in giving gifts to God or paying tithe or looking after the poor, first 10% you give as your tithe. The next 10% is your savings. Then you try to live within the 80% left. So assuming that your monthly allowance is about 200 cedis, it means that the first 10% will be what? 20 cedis. So about 40 cedis of that money is not for you. Try and live within the 160 cedis. You cannot, the economic basic principle is human needs are insatiable. You can't have all the money to do all the things you want. So being able to live with that 160 cedis teaches you discipline. You see, it's a discipline, not a quantum of the money. At this level, what you need is the discipline to keep to a budget, so that you don't go out and maybe you have 200 cedis, you start buying gifts and you go out and buying things for the girls. And everybody's birthday, you are the one who keeps, so I'll buy you gift. You are promising based on your monthly allowance that I will take you out, I'll buy you chicken man, pizza man, you know. And the money which is meant for 4 weeks, you will spend it in 3 days. Then you go begging. That is not a good life to live. The same life you are living in secondary school is the same life you will live after school. Don't expect that things will turn up magic. There will be some magic thing and things will be different. If you can't live within your means in secondary school, you will not be able to live within your means, even when you become a president of a country.
All right.
That's why we still have corruptions in our country.
Sure.
Because they can't live within their means.
Thank you very much, Doc, for that. I'll take the final remarks of Dr. Onyina as well.
Yes, let me add a little to what Doc has said. The other name of money is take me to do. Family. In fact, as you are here, maybe you are thinking of so many things. You don't have money. Now, if somebody gives you 1,000 cedis right now, I tell you, within the next 30 minutes, you draw a budget more than that. So if you are not intentional about savings, you can't do it. So you have to actually make it an intent that, no, for this one, I'm saving it, I'm not touching it. And that is how you succeed. Thank you.
Thank you. Professor Entry, final remarks? Final words?
The fact that you have been here today means that you are a step ahead of many, because you have become quite literate about the situation. And that is the first step of breaking the 3 mental blocks of our world. There are 3 mental blocks according to research: failure to see, failure to move, and failure to cross the finishing line. So now you have seen it. It means you've crossed the first mental block. You need to move to cross the second mental block, and then you finish the line, which is the 3rd one. God bless you.
Right. Thank you very much, Prof. So this session, we have been talking about building wealth, changing lives, strengthening communities through personal and business financial education, the role of academia. And I have my panel members were Professor Enoch Opokuenchi, who is a Dean of Business and Communication Arts at the Academic City University College. Please give him a round of... Oh, okay, Academic University, I beg your pardon. And then also I have had with me Professor Paul A.J. Onyena, who is Associate Professor of Economics with the Pentecost University. And then Dr. Eric Boachi Yadom, who is a Senior Lecturer at University of Professional Studies, Accra. My name is Ohinewa Brown. Thanks for your attention.